I know that we have our next incredible speaker in the room is Naomi with us today. Oh my gosh, I'm going to see your beautiful face. There you go. Hey girl, how are you?
Hello. I was listening to was it Brandy right before
Yeah.
talking about how she knows how of course I'm terrible at tech because she's good at it, and here I am. I'm terrible at tech. I can barely hear you guys. I'm so maybe you'll like make some faces if you're like you're you're not answering the question. We can't hear you.
We got you, girl. We got you. We can hear you fine. We can hear
Oh,
you fine.
okay, good,
The
good. I'm going to
face
be
to the
reading your
speaker.
lips.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you're gonna read lips, and I don't
Yeah,
really
I was
mind. I
gonna
don't.
say, as long as I do the talking and you do the listening, I think we're good.
Okay, so let me get through your bio because you're awesome. This is incredible. So, ladies, if you have not met Naomi in person, you've probably met her on screen. So, this is Naomi Grossman. She is best known for her fan favorite role as Pepper on American Horror Story, along with multiple appearances across the franchise and roles in series like Good Girls. Naomi is an Emmy Award nominated performer, an IMDb top breakout star. She is incredible. She's also an award-winning creator whose acclaimed solo show, American Horror Story, is being produced as a comedy show. Her most recent solo show received five Broadway awards, including Best Performance and Best Production Off Broadway. Congratulations. Now, look, things that people don't know about you, right? You may not know that she was the jump rope champion in elementary school. Very important to know, right? The topic she's going to be covering with us today is character transformations and beauty in Hollywood. The music that she's gigging to, and she must have been gigging to it for a while because this album's been out for a while, is the White Album from the Beatles. Absolutely gorgeous. And here, Naomi is going to give a gift that has never been given on our stage before. Yes, you're going to spend some time with her because you know what she's going to do for somebody? She's going to do a cameo. You are going to earn listen to win a cameo opportunity. Now, if you don't know what that is a personalized video message that you want to send to somebody for their birthday or congratulations, right? Honestly, how incredible. They'd be like, who are you? You're like, you watched American Horror Story? I've come in to haunt your birthday. So, girlfriend, do you want to give us and chat with us a little bit about what you mean about beauty in Hollywood?
Well, I got a lot of attention about. Well, it's been like 12 years now that American Horror Story first debuted. Um, I played the ugliest person on television. And so when people Googled me and they realized I didn't exactly look like that, yeah, I became quite the clickbait for a while. I still am actually, and I mean I know it's old, but it's never gets old for me. Believe me. Those little yeah, I guess clickbait's the best word for it. But you wouldn't believe this. What she looks like in real life, gorgeous in real life. Anyway, all this is to say that it's all very ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Although, like I said, I'm not mad at it. But you know, I'd never been told how beautiful I was until I played the ugliest person on TV, and like I said, while I appreciate being on the receiving end of that, at the same time, it is ridiculous how how important apparently that is. How much import we put on beauty and looks. And as far as I'm concerned, like I never understood why being an actress meant being pretty. Like as far as I'm concerned, I'm here to transform and become someone else and take people on their journey. And but since when do we only want to see pretty people's journeys? You know what I mean? Like I want to see people's journeys who look like me and who don't look like me, who look like, I mean, we all look different. And so I think in that regard, I'm opposed to, and I get it. I understand why we want to see pretty people on screen because we're spending upwards of what, $18 for a movie ticket nowadays. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not mad at having to, stare at Brad Pitt for the, 2 hours or whatever. But at the same time, the fact that that's somehow important, I think, is a problem. And I'm frankly bored by these, actresses that all look alike. They've all gone to the same plastic surgeon or had the same work done, or watch the same beauty tutorials, or like, as far as I'm concerned, like, who cares? So like I said, while I appreciated, I think it was like People magazine or whatever, or whoever it was, saying how, gorgeous I was in real life, it's also kind of like, so, like, why is this newsworthy? Like, why is this, why does this matter? It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. What should matter is like the performance, the what I'm like, the like I said, the journey I'm taking the audience on. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
preach.
Thank
I'm
you for,
seeing all the comments below. Appreciate
yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hun, what is the process that someone goes through getting into character? Like, what is that about?
So I think, we all have our own process. I tend to be very physical as a performer. And so in my case, I tend to go the outside in. Um, and granted, like I said, I'm an extreme character actress. So I prefer, I prefer to be as far away from Naomi as possible. And granted, that's probably something I should be talking to a therapist about instead of you. But I love it when I have to, have a gimpy leg, or a some sort of physicality that's going to inform my performance. Like I said, if you've got a crook in your neck, you're gonna move and feel and act and walk and talk, and everything about you is going to be informed by that. So in any case, in the case of like Pepper, for example, who was very physically very different from me, I knew that she'd been sort of modeled after the real life microcephalic from Todd Browning's movie Freaks back in 1933. So I'd really kind of I Googled him, because he was a him, and really kind of nailed his gait and walk and talk and all those things. And then once I could kind of mimic him on the outside, that's when I kind of filled in the holes on the inside and kind of created my own backstory. As it turns out, it was a totally different backstory than the one that the creators and producers of the show had ultimately endowed me with. But I didn't know what that was, not for a couple seasons, in fact. So it would have been nice to know that, early 2 seasons earlier, but it really didn't matter. So long as I know what my story is, that's what matters. Because we all have a story, right? I have a story, Deb, you have a story, Brandy had a story. I'm fascinated by the woman right before her, the medium story. I want to know that story. But again, what matters is not what that story is, but that we have it, because that is, like I said, coloring every moment, every minute of our existence. And in any case, so that's my process, like I said, from the outside in.
Beautiful. I know that we've talked many times, and I know that spirituality is important to you, and how does that play a role in your career? Like, where does spirituality land for you?
Yeah, it's everything.
Mm.
I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people don't even know about me. In fact, I just noticed that I have a very dear friend who's on this call right now who's like, my friend. Shout out to Linda Guten. But and I think even she would be like, wait, really? I didn't know that. But the fact is, I am one of these like secret people, and by that I don't mean I have secrets. I mean, I do believe in the power of thought, and you know, that old axiom, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. Like I we create our existences, and I am doing at all. Literally, I just found out that the thing that I wished for on my birthday about a month ago, like literally, I closed my eyes and I made a wish, blew out the candle, and I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Like I already got the call. It's happening. It's in the works. And I'm like I said, I'm not going to jinx it by telling you what that is, but it's you know, I put it out there.
Mhm.
I put it into the universe, and I um you know, and I've, you know, I trust. I've done, like I said, I did the work. Like you can't just, it can't just all be magical thinking. You have to also, you know, have,
Mhm.
you know, sowed the seeds too. But
Mhm.
it all works together. You know what I mean? Like, your mind needs to be right with your, you know, it like I said, it's all connected. It's like that old
Mhm.
song, you know, the such and such bones connected to the bone.
Yeah,
Like my
yeah.
your brain is connected to your soul, it's connected to your heart, that's connected to your, you know, and it
Yeah.
is. And I mean, I think it's a reason why, like, yoga, for example, is such an important part of my process, because, like, I a completely different person before before I do my yoga. Like no one, just like no one should know me, like meet me before caffeine. Like I have no business being speaking to anyone before I've had my practice, because it's really my moment to, not moment, it's my hour and a half to quiet the mind, shut off the chatter, and and you know, the things that I can do on the mat, they're hard. And it's sometimes the hardest thing I do all day. And like, and so the fact that I'm able to do that, it makes the rest of the day a cinch, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, I used to think that yoga was all physical, and now I realize it's mental. Like you're physically challenging yourself, but the end product is all mental. And that's what I love about it. Oh, and Linda's saying yes, she just got back from India. I did. I just spent the last 7 weeks in India. I got certified as a yoga teacher there.
Oh,
I don't. Who knows
wow.
if I'll ever act on that? But it's nice to know that I can do that, and it's also nice to know that I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it because I love it, and uh, you know, I was by far the oldest of any of the attendees, and probably that's because a lot of them were, you know, figuring out what they want to be when they grow up, and I've already grown up. I'm already who I want to be.
Yeah.
But I, you know, at the same
Yeah.
time, I didn't really have, I didn't, you know, I never wanted to be like an actress who just taught yoga because she didn't want to, you know, uh, uh, wait tables.
Mhm.
And so I'm proud to say that I am not that actress. Like I'm an actress who's an actress, and I don't wait tables, and but if I do teach yoga, it will be because I want to and not because I have to, and because I have something to say on the mat. I have something to contribute, and it's
Mhm.
not just in, you know, in lieu of schlepping orders.
Clearly not, because there's a secret you can't tell. And Linda, thanks for the prompt. I think that's amazing. You're a, you know, and you were the wisest one there. Let's just put it that way. You were the wisest one. Look,
Yeah.
you've been in this industry for a long time, and relevancy is always a conversation. Like, how do you stay relevant in an industry that moves in so many directions and moves at such a quick pace?
Yeah, I mean, I really am a big believer in the whole, if you build it, they will come. And if you're constantly looking at like, what do they care about? What are they watching? What are people into? What are we wearing? What are we doing? Like, it's just going about it the wrong way. Like, do you do what inspires you? Wear what looks good on you, you know,
Mhm.
and the rest will follow. And like I said, if it really looks good on you, if it's interesting to you, it's going to be interesting to other people. And so that's really been what I live by. Like I in one regard, I feel like I'm kind of a just sort of a parody of myself. Like I keep writing these one woman shows um based entirely on myself and because I am my own muse. Like I am a ridiculous human who finds herself in these incredible situations that are 1000% like story worthy. They need to be documented on a stage. And fortunately, I am a actor and writer and producer with the facility to do that. And so, this life would be wasted on, a dentist or somebody in data entry. So I so yeah, but I'm not really worried about like, is this relevant? Is this interesting? It's interesting to me, and therefore that's enough.
Right on,
I
right on.
mean,
I think that's a
like I said, if it's interesting to me, it's probably interesting to someone else. But even if
yeah.
it's not, first of all, how many billion people are we on the in the earth right now? Like, there's a few of us. So I feel like it's not going to be interesting to everybody, obviously, but it's going to be interesting to someone. And even if it's not, it's interesting to me. And that's really all that matters.
And that one person's going to bring a cajillion people to your show. Um, let's talk about your show. I just listed off some pretty incredible accolades. So maybe tell, people probably know your original roles and some of the roles that you do. So let's talk about this show that you've rocked lately. And yeah, what is it? Tell us more.
Sure. So you're referring to American Horror Story, which
Yes.
is my new solo show.
Yes.
Like I said, I have three now. The first was called Girl in Argentine Landscape. It documented my coming of age story in Argentina. After that, I had my second show was called Carnival Knowledge, Love, Lust, and Other Human Oddities. It was a sort of kind of like Sex in the City, different coast, crappier shoes, kind of madcap adventures in Hollywood, looking for love, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, then the third is the most recent installment, and that is American Horror Story. And how can I say, that's what it's about. Like it's my history of hustling in Hollywood. This whore is not, she's not promiscuous. That was Carnival Knowledge. This whore is, a woman who knows what she wants and does what she's got to do to get it. And it starts early in my first grade, my first hustle. And it's not over yet. I think, like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but
No, don't spoil it.
I definitely go through kind of a process, and I realize by the end that I'm done compromising. We all kind of do what we got to do, but there are, at this point in my life, there are things that I'm just not willing to compromise the way I have.
Wow.
And I think that's the lesson ultimately.
The last question I'd love to answer you because not everybody here is in film. I see Suzette, hello, 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 and Liza here, you and Elizabeth. There's a lot of wonderful people in your sector and industry here that I can see on the screen. There may be more. My screen sees some of you, not all of you. What misconceptions would you correct about the actor's journey? Okay, take a deep breath, have a martini.
Yeah, so many. Well, we're not all idiots. There are idiots, that's for sure. But um, there's no one way to skin a cat here. And what worked for me isn't going to work for everyone. People are always asking me advice for, what would you tell your younger self, or what should I do? Should I, my daughter wants to be an actor. And all I can say is, don't let her. No, I don't mean, kidding, not kidding.
No, I
There's
know.
a little nugget of truth in everything, right? In comedy. But you know, I would say to thine own self be true. And I often kind of joke that it's kind of like being gay. Like, you can't pray it away. Like, if I could have, I would have. And if you are one of these like unfortunate souls like myself, who just like was born this way with jazz hands out the womb, then give it a go, and really, like, don't worry about how you do it or what works, because like I said, what's worked for me may not be somebody else's journey. Like, I remember spending a lot of time being very jealous because I went to school with Zach Braff. I'm literally looking at a billboard of him right now. I think that's why I'm thinking of it. But he didn't even go to act. He wasn't even a theater major, and he got his own show right out of college. Well, that's Zach's journey, and good for Zach. And the things that he didn't work for me, and the things that work for me may not work for your daughter, the aspiring actor. You know what I mean? So I do think that that's it's foolish to think that there's just some one size fits all step by step process to finding success. I think if I were to give advice, though, it would be to not sit around, create your own opportunities, um, stay in school, learn all the things, because, yeah, I was a theater major, but honestly, like, to play Pepper, I needed to know, a little film history in order to know to Google Schlitzie, right? I needed to know some neuroscience to be prepared to play, a neurodiverse character like that. Like, I need to know all the things. That's another thing that I think people don't realize. I just, yeah, I. There's yeah, I do, I have a lot of opinions about how to skin this cat, and I think the most important is that you love it, and that you and actually, I kind of object to what, I can't remember who it was that was talking about the hustle culture. I have no problem with it. Like I said, I've made a whole show of it, and I wouldn't be who I am without it. So, ha. Linda says she puts the Energizer bunny to shame. It's true. I wake up and I run to the coffee pot and I make a pot and I drink it. And then when I go to sleep, it's like, I like